All right, welcome to Ink,
where we let people be their authentic selves.
and we've got.
I hit the mic on that.
You hit the mic. Should we start again?
No, just
No,
keep running it. Keep going.
All right.
We can't make it perfect.
No, it's not perfect. That's the perfect thing about this podcast because we let everyone be their authentic selves. That's your line.
Don't take my lines. You know what? We did actually.
Why don't you introduce the guest this time then?
We did a little addition the other day, and we switched everything up for Amazing Race. So it was like we were doing weird roles. But anyways, back to Elvin.
Back to Namaste with Tay. As you guys know, so you are a yoga instructor,
Yeah.
online fitness coach.
Yeah.
You were in the natural foods industry.
I was.
You're a big supporter of holistic foods and
Yeah.
holistic medicine, I'm assuming, too?
I am, yeah.
Naturally, right?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh my goodness. Well, where do we begin? Yeah, I mean, I did my bachelor's degree when I went to school, and I got into sales and found myself in natural foods, which was an industry I really wanted to get into for a really long time. Found like it was hard to kind of break into it, but once I was in there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is where I'm meant to be. And shortly after having my first child, I did my yoga and fitness training part-time while I was working because it was a passion of mine. It was something that I really wanted to pursue. So kind of grinded that out over the weekends, worked during the week, had my little one. She was about 16 months when I did that. And then started teaching part-time, kind of just for fun, just as like a passion
Teaching
and a
yoga,
hobby.
obviously?
Teaching yoga,
Yeah.
teaching fitness classes. Would just do a couple on the weekends or kind of where I could fit it in.
How old were you when you started working out? Or when you saw that you had that passion for fitness and nutrition?
Well, that's what's so crazy. So I mean, I was active growing up. I played rep soccer. I did competitive dance, but I never once I started working I started working when I was 14. So once I started doing that, all those activities kind of fell away. I never really worked out. I wasn't really an active workout fitness person at all in my 20s. And then after having my first daughter, I was 27 when I had her. I watched my body change as pregnancy does.
How was that? So you were relatively fit before that?
No, it wasn't.
you
I
weren't?
wasn't
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
I mean, fitness, like I would go to the gym very intermittently and I'd like go on the treadmill, maybe pick up a 2-pound weight.
Yeah.
Didn't really know what I was doing. Had no idea. And
Remind me to circle back to that because I think
There's so much there.
There's
like,
a lot of
even like
women that-
why did you start with? Because so there's differences in generations. There's differences in
Yeah.
cultures and things too. Like one thing we talked about a lot was like kids getting teased in like the Indian community. They always get teased for like literally when their kids being too fat or being too skinny and all this stuff, and that pushed a lot of like
From
us
the
to
moms.
go
From the-
moms
from the
and even
aunties,
dads,
right?
even-
Yeah,
even
moms and dads, right?
So like that pushed a lot of us to go to the gym really hard, and like it was kind of go to the gym in shame,
Yeah.
not like do good for you.
oh, that just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, so
I think that mine came from a different place, and where it came for me is that like I think it's okay to have an element of wanting to look better, because when you look better, you feel better, and it's
Yeah.
like this intrinsic confidence that you gain.
Absolutely.
When you feel better in the clothes you're wearing, and you feel better in your skin, or you look in the mirror and you're like, wow, I feel
Yeah.
good. So when I had her, I watched my body change, and my mom was like, oh, you're gonna bounce back. I was in my jeans pre-pregnancy, like you'll be fine. And I didn't bounce back. I looked pregnant still after I had my first daughter
How
for
old were you
months.
when you had her?
I was 27.
Yeah.
27. Okay.
And
How
so
was your diet? Because obviously you got the pregnancy cravings.
yeah,
I'm
so we
assuming.
can talk a lot about that too.
Yeah.
Back then I was really plant-based, mostly vegan. Yeah. And
Okay, so go back to the other one. Your mom said that. And
yeah, so I was like, okay, well, that didn't happen for me. And I was like, I want to change something here. And so I started working out from home, and I was like, I want to get strong. Like I just watched my body have a baby.
Yeah.
I can it just gave me this
There's
like
nothing
different
fucking
sense of
stronger than
empowerment.
that.
What's that?
There's nothing stronger than that.
No, right? Exactly. So I was like, I know that I can do hard things. So I want to if I just never give up, I know I can make change. Because like in the past, growing up in my 20s as a female, I was like, okay, like I want to go have like a bikini body, and like I said, go to the gym, run for an hour on the treadmill, which got me nowhere. And I wonder why. We can talk about
guys
why.
Don't ever
there's a
just do
couple things
cardio.
I learned recently
So
too.
generationally, that was like what you do
man.
when you're a girl is you go to the gym and you hit cardio, right?
Yeah.
And growing up, I was like the skinny fat girl. Everybody, I had friends be like, "What's wrong with you? You're so small." It's like I was small, but I was like a bag of skin and flesh. Like I had no definition. I didn't feel good in my skin at all. And I knew I just needed to make a change. So I started working out from home and I started to build some muscle and I started to make some really significant changes with my body. But what I noticed was that not only was I making significant changes with my body, I was making significant changes in my mental health, my energy, my confidence, my capabilities, my mindset. Everything started to change because we always talk about working out for the physique, but you cannot have that in isolation. All these other things come with it when it's coming from a good, healthy place and maybe not a place of shame, but a place of empowerment. Yeah. And I think that was the big difference for me.
Were you dealing with, because I know a lot of people at younger ages deal with a lot of mental health things, but they don't really know how to categorize it, talk about it, or even tell somebody about it. Did you have that experience where you had to deal with that stuff at a young age? Or
so from a mental health perspective, when I was in high school, I was bullied a lot. And as a young girl, like I think...
bullied for what?
Well, I'm not really sure. I feel like I was bullied a lot by other girls. And
girls are mean.
Girls can be, I mean, anybody can be mean. And I think when we're in high school, so many people are trying to figure out who they are. Yeah. And
girls are meaner than boys. We're physical.
We're physical, yeah.
But you guys are emotional torture for fucking years and years.
It was that, for sure.
I heard someone say, like, if a girl is overly nice to you, she's fucking making fun of you.
Yeah, it was such a weird thing because I'm like a very direct person and I'm a very, what you see is what you get. I am no bullshit. Yeah, and so there was a lot of mind games and a lot of that. And it really wore on me because I'm like a pretty happy-go-lucky person. And it wore on me. And I went through some serious depression when I was in high school. There was some self-harm going on. And, when I was around 16, I was put on antidepressants. At a very young age.
Hold on, let's back that up a little bit. So put on antidepressants. Fuck, that's fucked up, man.
At 16.
At 16, that like.
Why aren't you fucking doctors fucking saying go work out first?
100%.
Fuck you guys, man.
No, they never asked me how is your sleep, what's your activity level like? Nothing. Anyway, so I was really lucky that I was forced basically to go to some talk therapy, and I actually had a really wonderful therapist who, even though I didn't want to go. I didn't want help. I wanted to just like kind of deal with it. I don't know. It's such a weird concept when you're trying to go through something. I didn't even want to share the information with my parents because I didn't want them to worry for me. Yeah. And we almost take this on like to worry about it on our own. But
that is the thing. That's why you don't share, and that's why you close off.
Totally.
And that's why I close
off.
And
this is why we have this podcast, so we can empower the sharing.
But you're gonna scare your parents, right? At the end of the day, you're like, fuck. If I tell them that I'm thinking these thoughts, it's gonna be more negative for them than it is negative for me.
And what are they gonna do about it? And is it gonna make it worse for me?
You know what? I was always scared to go. This is a fucked up thing to say, but I was always scared to go to get some type of diagnosis, because if you get that type of diagnosis, the government will have that on you for the rest of your life.
So true, you're chained
to it.
They
can use. If you do anything a little bit left field in life, in the world, where you get noticed at a large scale, they'll use that against you and restrain you. Fuck, do whatever they want to you. Like that terrifies me.
Paint a picture, basically.
That's why I
leverage
never
it against you.
Yeah, nobody can say shit. Like they can throw you in a mental ward. They can do anything if you try to do something that's left field from what they want, right?
Yeah.
So
going through that, I think like going through that experience, I mean, it was a rough go for me for a little while, but I mean, I was on them for about 18 months. I was really lucky that talk therapy really helped me out. And she kind of said like, your depression is very situational. Like once you graduate, you're going to move on from this place and these people.
Yeah.
And it's going to resolve a lot of this situation. I was left with some like self-esteem issues and some confidence issues, but I was able to sort of rebuild that as you do with experiences and putting yourself into like post-secondary school and what's that?
Better environments as well.
Better environments. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But from a mental health perspective, that, I have dealt with some dark days and some dark nights of the soul, and I totally get that. So I have a lot of compassion for people, but I don't have compassion for people who have a victim mentality.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that is free that we can be doing to boost our mental health on a daily basis when it comes to movement, when it comes to being outside, being in nature, and stop being inside under this artificial light. When it comes to cold showers and cold therapy, there's just being out in daylight. There's just so much, and especially food. Like food is linked to a lot of mental health too, because we have so much information in our gut biome. When we're feeding ourselves garbage, processed crap, it's going to affect our mental health as well. So there's just so much that we can be doing that doesn't even need to go to the doctor, when like as stepping stones. Of course, like there's a time and place for Western medicine. There's probably a time and place for certain medications. But at 16, I just don't, I mean, if I were to look back, and certainly if it was one of my daughters, there would be absolutely no way that would be the first,
Not the first step.
thing.
Go
No,
do these things first, and then let's circle back to that.
totally.
We'll talk about Eastern medicine. That's really interesting. But you talked about you were in this depression state. You're in these sad times. Do you remember? Because I feel like a lot of people have that monumental moment where they feel like they've gotten out of that. Do you remember a time that you feel like you've gotten out of that, or do you still come to that, or how does that look now? Because that's a misconception that a lot of people have.
So I do remember my last day of talk therapy with this woman. And I remember I just kind of was like rambling on. And all of a sudden there was this pause, and I took this big inhale and exhale. And she looked at me and she's like, I think you're done. And I was like, you're right. I think I am done.
Sick.
And so I did have this really cool moment in that way. However, getting into my 20s, I dealt with a lot of hormonal imbalances after coming off the pill, which another thing is like a lot of young girls are just put on, which can actually lead to depression and anxiety. And I ended up being diagnosed, which you were just saying you're super scared of getting diagnosed with. I was diagnosed with PMDD in my 20s, which is like basically PMS, but like to an extreme that it affects your daily life.
Wow.
So I was dealing with that non-medicated. Premenstrual dysphoric
premenstrual
disorder, it's called.
So that's exactly ties into the thing that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like that they could write you off in that way then.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, possibly. I mean, I've never had any issues with it. But what's interesting is that for me at that point, I was like, I don't want to be on medication again, because I really didn't like being on antidepressants at all. Yeah. I don't think that they were beneficial for me in any way.
Did you stop cold turkey, or did you just kind of ease off?
No, I did try and stop cold turkey at 16. And like, that's not the way to do it, because they're very powerful drugs, right?
Isn't one of the side effects suicidal ideations?
Yes.
Idea.
The one that I was on had anxiety and suicidal thoughts as a side effect.
That's fucked, isn't that?
That's
I looked
what
into
you're
the
trying
man.
to. That's what you're trying to cure, and that's the side effect. So you
That's
don't even know
so
if it's
fucking.
you don't know
that
if
gave
it's
me
working or if
goosebumps.
it's fucking working.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, it just really numbed me out, which also isn't beneficial or productive for what you're trying to do. I mean, life isn't meant to be pain-free. We have to get rid of this thought that life is meant to be pain-free. Life is meant to be full.
It's supposed to be struggles. That's how you grow.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
Not
it's
supposed
meant
to
to
be
be
struggles
dynamic.
every day. Don't get me wrong, but you got to go through the struggle, these processes, the ups and downs for you to grow and come up on top, right? Yeah.
Do you know in Venezuela, the doctors have they used to have a lot of death by children from starvation when they're in hospitals, and they removed that for a reason for death, to increase the rates of people surviving, not because or dying because of that.
So
they removed it from
They
the
just
source of
removed the
that?
possibility of saying, hey, they died because of starvation on the form,
Oh my gosh.
and now all their rates are back to normal.
Wow.
So
So they're
they're
just not documented.
They're not documented, but these thousands of kids are
But
dying
isn't that
in their
what's-
hospitals.
that's how data is swayed in so many different ways in so many different countries for so many different
Well,
things.
COVID, it was swayed in many different ways. You came in, you had a heart attack, but you had COVID at the same time. It was labeled as COVID. Right? And well, I mean, I wasn't a doctor. I wasn't doing the autopsy, but that's what we're listening to on the news.
Totally.
And seeing articles of and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Or they were struggling with cancer or something like that, right? I mean, you can look at the data of like the average age of death from a COVID patient is like older than the Canadian life expectancy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, why have we shut down the country for this?
For 98% that are going to survive, we shut down the entire country, fucked up the economy. for that.
Major.
And
and
then forced
injected some
people
random shit.
Dude, I've been talking to a few people about the injections lately, and like, so I'm vaxxed. I have 2 shots. You've got 2 shots.
I had to get 3 because I had to do Europe.
Yeah.
But
So
Were they requiring a third?
third, because I did Kentucky.
Oh.
So they required a third. They just Kentucky. It was really fucking annoying. So
Okay, how about yourself?
I've never shared publicly, but I think most people would probably know that I'm not.
Okay, so we can assume that you're not. Okay, that's fair. I've noticed in the last little bit, I can't figure out if it's hormones or if it's age or whatnot. When I'm drinking and like when I'm hungover the next day, so it's a heavy night of drinking. So New Year's Day, for instance, like New Year's Eve, I was plastered. New Year's Day at night, like I think when I was trying to go to sleep or it was the first thing in the morning, my heart was racing. Like I don't know if it was the age thing. I've talked to a few friends about it, and they're like, "Yeah, it's probably age, probably hormones." And then some people are like, "Dude, like a lot of people have been saying that since getting the shot."
I have actually a really close friend whose husband is RCMP, and he has a really high up position with them. He loves his job. He has a really amazing job with them. He's basically got his dream job. He like works for the SWAT part, like section,
Nice.
right?
Right.
And he provides for their family. She works part-time, but like he's the main provider, and they are a federal employee. So they were given the notice by November 25th of last year. If you don't have both, See you later, no pay. So they had a very difficult decision to be faced with, which I do not envy. I mean, I wasn't put in that position at all, and I don't know what I would have done if I was put in that position, but he decided to do it, and he was diagnosed with myocarditis. He was actually hospitalized for a week and was off work for 4 months because he couldn't even pick up his children because of his heart.
After getting the shot?
Yeah, and the ER doctor as well as the cardiologist both confirmed it was from the shot.
Holy fuck, that's crazy. So have you traveled in the last little bit then?
Yeah, actually I have.
Okay,
this is what I was gonna ask, like, because I chose that to travel. Did I make the wrong decision? Did I fuck up by going on all these trips and get the vaccine?
I don't think there's ever a right or wrong decision. Like,
I think I fucked up. I think there's a wrong decision made.
There's a wrong
decision. I think I fucked up, bro.
You didn't have an option.
That's how it was posed for a lot of people, is that you have to
option.
do it to continue your normal life. But I will tell you that my normal life was not disrupted in any way. I still went out. I still went out to eat. I still went out.
You walked into restaurants and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, not all, of course. There were some that were very, very strict. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm not an ask for permission. I'm an ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
And I am.
Thank you.
Right?
We live by that.
Yeah. And I mean,
So you just walk in, pretend like you know.
Yeah,
we
just walked in. I mean, sometimes I don't think. I mean, there's a very small percentage of people who were like very. I think most people were just doing what they were told.
100%.
But yes, we did travel, and we took a chance to do it. I mean, my experience was, we had heard that, you know, you could potentially cross the border and fly out of the States, and that's what we did.
Okay.
And we had no issues, and we did it twice.
Awesome.
I've been into the States 3 times since. They are still upholding their mandate.
Yeah.
And I've been 3 times via the land border, and I've had no questions asked, no issues. The first 2 times we went to Hawaii, took my kids the first time. So it was like a huge gamble.
What was the script though? What did you say?
Well,
they didn't
we booked the whole, they just didn't ask.
They didn't ask. If there's nothing wrong, they're just going to go through.
Yeah, we were just asked the normal questions.
What made you do that though, with the fear of like either getting like a demerit on your passport?
I do not live in fear. And I think that I need to travel, and like probably why like a lot of people went and just did it, because they're like, I have to travel. I love to travel. We love to travel as well. So
I would have died if I didn't travel, bro.
Yeah,
I know. Oh my gosh,
shit.
I do understand like that feeling of relief that I had when we crossed the first time. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. I cried. I screamed. I was like, oh my god, we are gonna go. Like I knew that after we crossed, we were going to be able to go.
You know how fucked up this is?
It's like robbing a bank and taking
Yeah.
You guys had a Bonnie and Clyde moment right there.
And it was a huge investment financially. So I was like,
because Hawaii's not cheap.
No.
Tickets.
So I was like, oh my gosh, if we don't get to go, it's, you know, that was the gamble,
I'm
right?
scared of fucking with the border because like it's just. I will tell off a cop and melt off a cop.
Yeah.
But government, like, I want to go to the States, man.
Yeah, I
like,
know.
they'll just fucking ban you for 5 years.
We just weren't asked, you know? I don't really think the States cares too much, truthfully. Like, just no.
Tell us.
No, thank you. I was like, I'm not wearing a mask. Especially because during the time of mandatory masks, I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not doing that.
My daughter hates when I don't know. When we go to, like, the doctors right now, like, for checkups for my daughter, like even last week I went in, she got her shots, and I fucking hated it. And she asked if she wanted to do the flu shot, and Seema and I went back and forth on it. And I didn't want to do it because I'm like, I don't do the flu shots. I've never done the flu shots. I did the COVID shot because I had to. And the reason I don't do it is because like I'm young, I eat well, I work out.
Exactly.
If I get sick, it's just building up my immune system. I'm okay with that, right? It's part of fucking life. And I went back and forth on it. Like we did the other shots, no issues. It's just we were cool with that. They asked for flu shot, and I'm like, she was sweet. She didn't put pressure on us. She's like, it's up to you. My daughter so we ended up saying like, we'll think about it. And then my daughter was crying after those 4 shots in her arms, and I felt so bad. I'm like, I'm not bringing her back here in 2 days to get another one. I'm like, she's already crying.
Though? This is the thing, right? If you're not getting the flu shot, why would you give a baby a flu shot?
So like the thing is
but
like,
are you saying that for
kids? Because she, at that point I'm like, I don't want to like, I don't know what to do, and she's already crying. Just give her the 5th shot right now. And so that's what I ended up doing. I'm like, so I gave her the flu shot. I probably won't come back for the booster, but it was more of a situation of like, if I change my mind in a couple of days, I don't want her to go through this fucking pain again. Like if she doesn't have to. So I'm like, she's already here. She's already crying. She's already, got her shirt off and stuff like that.
What about your dog? Are you giving your dog shots?
He gets shots every year. He gets shots.
He can have them?
He can have them. Okay. I guess they're just tested longer. He's going to die in 4 or 5
is,
years
though,
anyways.
I think the thing is
out of pocket, bro.
It should be a personal choice, and all of these health and medical decisions should be personal choice. And when our government starts to force coerce,
Yeah.
threaten, mandate decisions like this. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
We flipped. I was like chill with everything, and I mean, you and I flipped the switch as soon as they shut down the gyms for the second time.
Yeah.
I just
And we
started my bodybuilding.
Wakey,
camp,
wakey.
and you
Mark.
shut it up.
B Mark, fucking Brian Mark from Kelowna, man. Props to you. I hope you see this. We're gonna get you on the pod one day, but
He kept
we
his gyms
support.
open.
We kept you kept your gyms open. We supported you, and we love that you did that. You made a fucking movement, so we love
Yeah.
that.
No, I mean, that's what I was saying from day one is like, why are we shutting down the things that help people?
Mhm.
Because gyms aren't just for physical health. Like they're not just for the aesthetic health. They actually working
Mental.
out actually affects your gut health.
Especially when they say,
Which is what is really important for your immune system.
Yeah.
So like what are we doing? And why is it then that fast food remained open, that
the shit that adds to diabetes, obesity, and those are the things that
the casinos remained open and liquor
That's
stores
fucked
remained
up.
open?
The casinos were
Like,
because
what?
of addictions. Let's go back. You said that you don't agree with anybody telling you what to do before you're
My dad will
18.
love that.
Well, we'll chop it up and send it to him. So you said that you don't agree with anybody telling you what to do until you're 18. Do you agree with the fact? Now, this might be controversial.
Let's go for it.
We'll talk about it because
That's what we like to do.
we talk about it in
Respectful.
very
manner.
respectful ways. But
Sure.
hormone administration before the age of 18. Do you think that kids should have that choice, or the parents should have that choice until they're 18? Because right now, the epidemic of everybody pushing hormones on kids is becoming a real thing, right? And everybody's talking about it now.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are not shy about losing their businesses are talking about it. So the people who can just like openly share their opinion, and difference of opinion is good in
I
some
agree.
societies.
Differences of opinion is how we progress.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's totally fine if anybody has difference of opinion, because then societies would collapse if we didn't have difference of opinion. So do you think that is kind of like a positive thing that's happening in society right now, or the negative thing?
So first, I just want to say that I have never been shy to share my opinion, and even as a business owner, my business has only grown by me staying true to myself
In your
and
core.
my beliefs.
Yeah.
And either my clients either agree with me or they respect that we're able to have difference of opinion.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I don't think that children should be subject to hormonal therapies, hormonal injections. No, I don't.
I don't even think that.
Do you
it
know
should
that
be in those books.
our prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until we're 25 years old?
And they're
That's
making
huge.
decisions that are changing.
People
their
are getting
DNA.
married before then. People are using alcohol and drugs before then. Our brain is not even fully developed until we're 25 years old. So no, I don't agree. That's not to say that I don't agree with. That's the question you asked. I don't agree.
Yeah. There's other situations, like there's that 0.001% that is actually having those problems. But I feel like from what I've seen is even in schools are pushing a narrative now that is pushing people to change their mind or be curious. But being curious is not something that is like,
Something that you
hey,
should play with. and
pump
that.
steroids
Yeah.
up your ass for fucking 5 years and change everything because you're curious.
I mean, I have a daughter that goes to public school. She is in a Montessori program, but it's still considered a public school. And when she started kindergarten, and I have to just say, like, my belief is that people are allowed to choose how they want to live, and people are allowed to choose who they want to love, and it's none of my business.
Yeah.
But that being said, I actually have a girlfriend who's a teacher, and she told me as my kindergartner was starting school, she told me, "Did you know that it's in the curriculum to talk about transgender in kindergarten?"
Yeah. That's
And I was
way
like,
too
"What?
early.
That is
That's
that
way
that
too
cannot
early.
be true." I said that
Once
cannot be
again-
true. And she's a teacher, and she said, "Absolutely, it is." So day
It's
one,
positioned as a choice.
Day one, I'm at my daughter's kindergarten school, and I'm talking to her, and I almost felt bad to even bring it up, but I was like, no, this is my daughter.
Yeah.
This is my child, and she doesn't even know, girl,
She
boy,
barely
she
knows.
doesn't
She
even
barely
know.
knows what her parts are.
No, and I'm
right?
thinking, can we teach inclusivity? Can we teach kindness to
Yeah.
all? Do we have to start opening up these doors where our children are not mature enough to even understand these concepts? Anyway, so I ended up asking this teacher, like, is this a part of the curriculum? Am I understanding that correctly? Because if that's true, I would like to know the day you're planning on talking about that, so I
So
can
you can
keep
have
my
your
daughter
daughter
home.
I'm not raising my kids in this society, man. I don't.
But
I
she
can't
said
see
she
myself
was really
doing
sweet.
that.
She had been teaching for 41 years. She was an old
wow.
lady. She was wonderful, vibrant teacher, and she was like, we didn't
Completely
get
new
to
to
it
her,
last
obviously.
year. She didn't want to talk about
She
it.
didn't want to talk about it. Yeah,
we didn't get to
definitely
it
not.
last year, so there's some teachers pushing back.
Yeah. You know what the
But
problem
the problem
is?
is you don't know what teacher you're
You know what the
gonna get.
fucking problem is?
I
Like,
think that's your job as a parent, is to get
You can't
involved.
choose that shit, though,
You,
sometimes.
no,
No, you
but
can get
you can get involved, and you're allowed to ask questions of your kids' teachers. And if you don't align, pull that kid, talk to the principal, say, hey, you know what? I don't think this teacher is a right fit for my kid. Thankfully, I am so grateful. My daughter's teachers, the two that she's had, have been awesome. Super respectful that I didn't want to mask her to go to school. Super respectful that I didn't want to use hand sanitizer on her. Both of them, very respectful. So
Taylor, you're very able to do that, which I admire a lot about you. Like, you being involved with your kids to that level is something that, like, I wish I could do, like, when I'm a parent. How does the problem is, like, a lot of parents are working this like 2-3 job grind, and they
just don't have the time
they
to
don't-
step in and
they don't
be
have the
as
time, and maybe
involved
that
as
means they
want to
shouldn't have
be.
had the kids, but they don't have the ability to be there and kind of help shape the kid's life, and now the school is shaping the kid's life.
yeah, I can understand that. I think that we have to take a step back from sometimes. Even as a business owner, sometimes you get so into it and you're like, okay, what, you're like in this grind mode. But realistically, what are we leaving on this planet when we go? We're leaving our children.
humans.
Yeah.
We're leaving our legacy as our
Yeah.
kids. And they are our absolute responsibility to raise how we see fit, to protect. So my nudge would be get involved and like find a way. Just like people make time to go to the gym because nobody can find the time. I certainly don't have the time to do all the things I do in my daily routine. You make the time for the things that are important to you, and your children should be number one.
Number one. Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about this like a few months back, because it's like, this is like, the system is going to have my daughter for schools like from 8:30 to 2:30.
But doesn't your wife teach?
She teaches.
She's
yeah.
she's a teacher, so she probably is
So
more-
she has to talk about that stuff.
yeah.
And we
Would
both,
you ever put your kid in the same school as Seema?
Yeah, it's just easier for convenience.
Yo,
purposes.
you can't, dude. You
Oh
can't
no,
do
sorry.
that.
Actually, so originally.
I wouldn't you?
No, sorry.
No, man, I wouldn't
originally-
want my mom as a teacher. That's
No,
weird.
it'd be the same school, but it wouldn't be the same class. But we actually discussed
Still.
that. It was easier to do it like that because you just go to school with mom. That being said, I want her to grow up with the neighborhood kids. I don't want her to be inside.
Yeah.
So I want her to know who's next door and like go
Yeah,
to school with
have
them
that
and have that
community for
community.
sure.
She's gonna be
So-
Mr. Ryan's daughter.
Yeah,
She's gonna be Mr. Ryan's daughter.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna send Sophie to SEMA school. I'm gonna send SEMA. I'm gonna make SEMA transfer school, so she's teaching at her fucking Adams Road Elementary.
There
Actually,
you go.
So that's what I'm planning on doing. Fuck, I've lost my train of thought of what I was gonna ask. One of the issues is that you talked briefly about inclusivity, and which is very important. We want to make sure everyone is included, but we can't confuse kids with something that 99% of them are not going to go through.
It's a weird time. I mean, I haven't encountered.
Maybe it's not 99. I should correct myself. Sorry, I don't have the stats in front of me, but a large majority is not transgendered, and we are catering to a minority. And whenever you cater to a minority, for the reasons of inclusivity. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Inclusivity, whatever.
Inclusivity.
To make them feel included. I just don't think that's right. You are. It's just not. It's unbalanced at that point.
I just think that it's not our job to change people. It's not our job. The only people we can control are ourselves. The only people we have sovereignty over is I only have control of me.
Yeah.
So I can only control how I interact with other people, and my hope is to interact with no matter who it is, whoever I encounter, with kindness and compassion, because I have also been a shitty person. I have also gone through stuff and been confused at times in my life. You know, I think it's easy to paint a group of people with one brush, and I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that can be done, as we've seen in the last 2 years in this country. So I think inclusivity, to me, maybe that word has been overused and misused, but to me, I think what I teach my kids anyway is you are to be kind when you are not with me, and you are to be kind not just to your friends but to everyone.
So how do you do that? Because that's actually what I was going to ask, because she's going to be in school for 6 hours a day. She is going to be influenced by the government, by the system, for at least 6 hours a day. She's going to be with me for maybe an hour, 30 minutes in the morning, maybe, right, before she goes to school. She's going to come home from school. I might be at work, and I'm going to come home late at night, and I might get a chance to spend another hour with her because she's probably going to go to bed. Like right now, she goes to bed at like 7. So by that time, maybe 8. I'm not sure. So what? I've got 2 hours to influence her, and the system has 6. For most people, it's going to be a uphill battle.
I think quality over quantity is really important here because a lot of parents
on an
are in
influence, that's really tough. I agree.
Maybe so.
I agree, and
maybe
I hope
so.
that
But
works.
okay, so you're married, right?
Yeah.
So just because you remember when you started dating and like the time you didn't spend a ton of time together, you probably weren't living together right off the hop, right? But the time you did spend together was like connection time. Like you were like you were focused on each other, right?
Yeah.
And it was a small amount of time. Now you live together, you're more like roommate vibe in a sense because you're just always together. But
So
I
true.
would say this: the time is stretched, but the quality time is not extended.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really not,
Dude,
right?
that's
I
a
hope
great
that works.
perspective.
Yeah, that's a great perspective.
I haven't thought it like that before.
My daughter's young, right? So I don't know how this is going to play out. And she's my first daughter. So.
I think you just have to be intentional.
Yeah.
I think
I
it
agree.
always comes down to that. And it's so easy when you have a busy career to like be like, no, this is important because I have to provide and whatever. But like, no, what's important is the connection you have with your partner, your kids. Like I remind myself of that a lot of times, and I'm like, okay, reel it back. Like don't get lost in this crazy Instagram world or somebody's comment or who's thinking of what of you. I do not care.
Yeah.
What I care about is what my family thinks of me, what I think of me, and what kind of impact am I making? Because I know for sure I'll be the first one to say that there are days where I'm stressed out or I'm overwhelmed with work, and then I take it out on my kids. Not take it out on them, but I react. And it's not their
have a shorter
problem,
temper,
right?
yeah.
And that's when I'm like, okay, well, bing, I gotta like reel this back in. That's not their problem.
Yeah.
And why am I doing this job? I'm doing it to provide for them. I'm doing it for them. So let's like spend the time with them, put the phone away, and like be on the floor with my kid.
Yeah,
You know?
that's beautiful.
Can we talk about parenting styles?
I was
'Cause
just gonna jump into that. Like,
Yeah,
how were you growing up? How was your relationship with your parents? And were they busy? Were they working a lot? Like, where does your entrepreneurial drive come from?
Well, I do have a close relationship with my family. My parents are still together. Both worked while I was growing up. And I think that because my mom worked and was always very career oriented, that gave me a lot of, like, she modeled that for me, right? So I get a lot of my drive, motivation, ambition. I get that from her. She always like did really well. She's worked for her company for a long time. She was always sort of being promoted and excelling.
what's
and
her company?
She works for Jameson Vitamins.
Oh,
cool.
awesome! So nutrition has been a part of your life for a long
That's
time.
amazing.
Yeah, it has.
Holy shit! Like, did you not realize that?
Well, it has. I mean, it's
Were
funny.
you popping like Jameson pills when you were younger?
Yeah,
Nah,
I
she would
guess.
take, yo, want some Molly?
Vitamins?
Take some,
has
put
a
some
smiley
Molly
face on
Okay,
it.
so my parents are healthy, but I think it's like I saw it in natural foods too, is that people would come into the industry who think that they know what health is, and they're just like, oh, okay, like they've landed. I got this great cool job with like natural chips.
Natural
But
chips.
like they don't actually live
Those
that
chips
lifestyle.
are actually pretty good
right?
though. Those chips are really good. I know what chips
Is it
you're
the
talking
veggie
about.
the veggie straw ones?
No, it's the freaking Quest. Is it Quest?
No, I mean we didn't sell Quest, but I'm just using that as an example.
Okay.
Like, so it's one thing to work for a company that's in that industry. It's another thing to like walk the walk. But the difference is that yes, both my parents were active in some way or
And they
another.
worked out.
Yeah, my dad worked out. My dad was a runner. My mom was kind of intermittent. She was always the one that was, I'm sorry, Mom. She was always the one that was like, let me try this new diet. Whereas my mom, if you saw her, she's like this tall, blonde goddess, never needed to diet. She like had a gorgeous body, just
God
naturally. Yeah, just God given. So she, I watched that and I was like, what if you just ate for your health? Because I feel like you'll probably get where you want to be if you actually just focused on what was best for your health. Because the body is a really beautiful and divine human design, right?
Yeah.
Like it's amazing the shit that it will go through for you. Steroid use, overeating, over drinking,
about it.
You feel
over
personally
drugs.
attacked?
I'm just saying, like the things we put it through.
I don't feel attacked. I feel complimented, actually. She thinks I have muscles. She didn't say shit about you, bro.
Bruh.
Let's talk about that.
I'm not talking about that. I
What's
don't
your
know.
diet look like?
Mine? Okay, so this has been quite the evolution. So for my diet, I mean, when I moved out at 18 and I started cooking for myself. And I started to cook like a lot more vegetables than I'd ever had at home. My mom and dad's house is like very meat potatoes people. They're very meat potatoes people.
So
I
white.
started buying like red,
No
super
seasoning,
white,
right? No
super
seasoning?
white. What's that?
Salt and pepper.
Not much.
Salt
Oh
and
my
pepper.
Salt and pepper,
God.
man. And
Yo.
I like am quite, I would like to think, pretty adventurous with my food. So I like curry. I like red,
That's what she
red.
points at me. That's what she points at me. Shit. Okay.
Yeah,
all
and
right.
I'm like going to the grocery store buying like red peppers and like things that were never in my house, right? Like I grew up eating like
Sriracha.
yeah, literally. I grew up eating like Tostitos chips for an after-school snack and a 2-liter of Coke. Like
That's fucked.
that
That's
is,
crazy.
you know, 80
I did as
typical,
well.
yeah, typical
But
80s
yeah.
kid diet,
And I
right?
was ripped.
Fruit Loops for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like I look back on that now and I'm like, oh my God, like
So bad.
that is just not
So
it.
fucking bad.
That's not it. No wonder I was struggling with mental health and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Remember
I mean,
the Lunchables?
Yeah,
Lunchables.
yeah.
And what about
Lunchables-
Dunkaroos?
I fucking love the Dunkaroos. They still have them. Snack plug.
Specialty stores now.
Yeah.
So anyways, my diet has sort of evolved over the course of the last 15 years since I moved out, 20 years.
Yeah.
I went from sort of vegetarian to sort of getting really interested in like being strictly vegan and plant-based, where side note, that's like when a lot of my hormonal issues started, when I was not eating meat and dairy. And then it
sick.
sort of
Let's talk about that.
evolved back to a very, I call it
Balanced?
now like qualitarian diet. So like the meat that I have, I want grass-fed, grass-finished beef. I want like local chicken that has room to run. I want, grass-fed dairy, unpasteurized cheese. I want good quality organic produce. Like
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of how I buy, and it is an investment, and I totally appreciate that, not
It costs-
everybody can
not
eat that
everyone
way.
can do it that way,
But
yeah.
I mean, I don't get my nails
But
done. I don't
it's-
get my lashes done.
yeah.
Like I'm a pretty
So then that's
low
fair.
maintenance girl.
I'd rather
Spend
so if
money
you,
on that.
yeah, I'd rather give up something like that
Yeah.
that I don't really need for
Yeah.
a better quality product.
That's just what I see, because I do hear that sometimes, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. But we also all have priorities
Yeah.
too, and
People just don't want it bad enough. That's what it
I
comes
think
down
that
to.
there's
People
just
don't know they
a lack
need it
of
bad
there's a
enough.
lack of real knowledge, because there's like the Western healthcare system's knowledge and what they're pushing, and then I don't know, there's just all these different, as you mentioned earlier, there's all these different narratives, and it's like, well, what is best? To me, what is best is what is real. What is real food?
Yeah.
What is real food that is the least processed possible? I mean, I cook my own meals in our home 4 or 5 days a week. We do still eat out. I'm a human person.
Yeah.
I like to go out.
Cactus.
Yeah, like I'll go out from time to time, and I'll do takeout from time to time, but like I don't do it that often.
What's your daily diet?
That's what I
like?
was gonna say. What's a day like in the day of Taylor for food?
Okay, so I eat breakfast. I get up at 5:30. I eat breakfast usually. So we got chickens recently.
You got what?
I got
Chickens.
chickens
Yeah,
recently.
you're allowed like 2 in your backyard.
I got
You
well,
bought the live ones?
yeah.
Fresh chicken is the
Whoa,
best. Yo.
that's
You
me.
hold up.
You're
For
gonna
eggs,
raise
for
them?
eggs,
Oh,
for
my
eggs.
Hold
bad.
up. Are you gonna eat them after?
No.
It's
They're
a
for
Why?
eggs.
It's a
Why
Fiji-
won't you eat
it's
them
a
after?
Fijian thing.
Well, first of all, they're laying chickens, so they're not meat birds. You could technically eat them, but by the time they're done laying, they're going to be 3-4 years old. I mean, the chicken you're buying in the store is quite young.
Okay, let's not talk about that. I'm gonna become a vegetarian after this.
You know what? I think that actually, so people, I know that there's obviously this debate and there's this huge push in the media, mainstream media, for like plant-based. And I've been there. I was there years ago, so I get it. I get why people want to think it's better for the environment to eat fake meat over real meat, but it's not.
Yeah.
Factory farming, yes. Ethically, bullshit. Not good for the environment. I don't agree. That's why I try and buy really high quality meat, local as possible.
You can taste the difference, actually.
100%,
taste it.
100% you can. And you're purchasing from farms that are practicing regenerative farming that are actually doing good for the soil, good for the environment. A lot of these fake meats that are being made and sold and told, like, you got to eat this is better. It is not better. It's not
Yeah.
better for you. It's not better for the environment. It is not. It's only profitable. It's only
Exactly.
profitable. You
Think
talk about big pharma, we're going to talk about big food, because that, once processed food entered the market, it was like marketing
They're just,
city.
Well, like they're just feeding off each other, right? They're making
100%.
people sick, and then they're selling more drugs.
100%.
It's a fucking cycle.
100%.
Dude, think about Beyond
But
Meat.
let's not treat the root cause.
It
Let's
tastes
just
good,
keep
though.
medicating.
Yeah.
Don't change your lifestyle.
Don't change your lifestyle. Let's just find another fucking pill for it.
100%.
Right? But okay, so wake up at 5:30.
So sorry, I wake up at 5:30. And I will say, as an entrepreneur, I wake up way earlier than I ever did when I worked for somebody else.
Same. Yeah.
So I get up, I eat breakfast, and I used to do all my workouts fasted, which is a huge shift in the last year. I mean, I've been working out now, like my oldest daughter's 7, right? So I've been on my fitness journey for 7 years this month, actually.
Nice.
7 years postpartum. I've had a baby since then, worked out when I was pregnant with her, like the whole way. And nutritionally, like I was doing fasted workouts and my hormones were really suffering, because women need to eat.
Yeah.
And like being an online fitness coach and working with women one-on-one, that's the biggest thing I see is women are under eating, and they're under eating protein.
Yeah.
So I get up, I have 2 to 3 eggs, have a carb of some sort, depending on where I'm at in my cycle, because I try to eat for my cycle, which is like a whole other topic.
intense. Imagine
She does
trying
roids
to eat-
too. Oh, not that type of cycle?
What?
What's that?
No.
Oh, I got that wrong.
No.
Got that wrong.
Yeah, so I
so
try.
menstrual cycle.
So it just depends on where I'm at in my cycle, and it depends on what I eat. But I'll have eggs, and then I'll have a carb and a fat. Workout, and then I'll have a protein smoothie. So I'll do like a protein, fat, carb smoothie, and then I'll have lunch, which can be anything from. Usually, I'll have like dinner's leftovers for lunch, whatever I made the night before.
Gotcha.
And then I'll have, I mean, I love to cook and I love to be adventurous when I cook. My daughter, my little one, she's 18 months. Her favorite, she loves curries. She loves butter chicken. She loves a lot of like flavor and a lot of spice and a lot of like coconut milks and tomato broths. She loves that. Garlic, ginger. So I make a lot of food like that. I'll cook any.
You're not restricted at all.
No,
you're not
oh my God, no.
rice and chicken. Like honestly, I had chicken and rice before you guys came. It was chicken, rice, cucumbers.
She makes her food good. She just focuses on the 3 core things, right?
100%, and good quality, right? So like a high quality fat and like portions and not too much. I don't know, like it's very balanced
really
eating.
You don't really count too much of your macros.
So I've had a season of life where I focused on that, and I believe I did it in a healthy way. And I think we haven't really touched on this, but like so many women, especially maybe men too. You guys can maybe comment
Guys
on that
too, like
in the fitness industry, who like are really restrictive with their diets. I did go through a season of that when I started my fitness journey. I will say that I don't feel like it came from a negative or shame place or a place of like, never came from a disordered place. For me, I know it does for a lot of women, and so I don't ever tell women to restrict any, like I don't coach that way. I don't think it's necessary, and it's certainly not sustainable. If you want to have a sustainable looking body, then you got to be able to eat sustainably, right? That's just like no brainer. So I did go through that phase where I like would have half a cup of oatmeal for breakfast, 2 eggs, protein after I worked out, chicken and salad for lunch, ground turkey, black bean bowl for dinner. Like I went through a season of that, and you know what? I did it for a short period of time. I think it's okay to do for a short period of time. It got me to where I wanted to be, but it got to the point where I was like, okay, like I don't want to eat like this anymore.
Yeah.
I like food. I like flavor. I don't like feeling. Because there was a level of like when you make a change to your diet, it's gonna cause a little bit of discomfort. Whether you're going from like a highly processed diet to something that's more whole foods and natural, like there's just gonna be some discomfort when you're changing how you eat, right?
Do you think like eating like that is bad at all?
In a restricted way?
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary.
Gotcha.
I think it's bad, man. Right after I did my competition, I did a bodybuilding competition.
Oh, yeah.
And right after that, it took me 3 months to fucking even look at proper food.
That's so sad.
Bad. I tried so hard, man. It was okay when I went to Mexico, but then it goes through you, like it hurts your stomach so much.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
like you still don't really eat wings when you go and stuff like that.
I still can't go to that. I'm not at that stage yet. I'll get there eventually.
Is it like mentally or physically?
Both.
Like your guts hurt.
Both.
Really?
Probably more mentally.
Really?
Okay. So like,
my gosh.
do your guts hurt and stuff like that?
That and but mostly the mental is like fuck. Like, you
'cause
started so fat. Like, why are you gonna eat again? Because you worked this hard to get here, and it was so fucking difficult. It's like, don't fucking eat this.
That's so sad to me.
What is that when you look in the mirror and you don't see your
dysmorphia?
Body dysmorphia.
Body dysmorphia.
Definitely body dysmorphia.
It's like on the next level.
It's a mental thing. Like, because I've been super skinny my whole life, and I was trying to get up to like 200 pounds, and I did it using things that I had to do to use it, and I know what everyone's gonna think, which is it's true. Kids out there, if you're gonna do it, go talk to a doctor first. Do it safely. Don't abuse it. Don't abuse it. I'm okay with doing it. I believe that it's efficient. So let's just fucking say it. We're talking about steroids, guys. I think it is efficient, and I think there's use and abuse. And you disagree.
I think there is use and abuse. There's also addiction that is very, it's very able to happen, especially in this society with comparative Instagrams and everything, all this shit.
And all that
so
shit,
I think it's not worth the risk especially if you don't know if you don't have self-control or not.
Right.
I don't think it's worth that risk.
But what if someone's fat and they've tried to do it? And
you haven't tried hard enough.
They haven't tried hard enough.
You haven't figured out different
ways. But remember,
you guys,
people don't work as hard as you and I do too.
But then you don't get what that result is. You don't get what that result is.
So then you got a fat person that's like dealing with that mental health struggle of like, what do I do?
They have to deal with their mental. Then they got to go to therapy first. They got to figure that out. It's not going to be through the gym, bro. It's not. I don't think it'll be through the gym.
I think that working out can be hugely beneficial for mental health. I mean,
but if you can't get the motivation to even get to the gym,
let's say he's working out. Let's say he's hit a plateau. This guy's fat.
You know what creates motivation? Action creates motivation. Everybody thinks it's the other way around. Everybody thinks that like,
you gotta get motivated.
I gotta get motivated and then I'm gonna start. No.
Discipline.
Discipline is
action. Action will get results.
But you can't tell that to somebody who's lazy as fuck.
I know. Yeah. I agree. Listen, I agree with what you're saying, right? But I'm saying there's gonna be a lot of people that are like working out, not seeing the results, trying to eat healthy. Maybe it's a hormone imbalance. Maybe they're not eating well enough or enough. Here, I went through this. I wasn't eating properly when I was 20 years old. I graduated high school at 145 pounds, 145 pounds, super skinny. And I was lean, but I was skinny. I did everything I could for 4 years to try to gain weight. Everything I thought I could do. Okay, protein shakes, weight gainer shakes. I thought I was eating enough chicken. I was eating chicken and stuff every day. It took me 4 years to put on maybe 10 pounds. I got on gear and I put on 20 pounds in 3 months, and I felt amazing. Right, so
I think the saddest part when I hear, like, because I mean, so many women in fitness that I've seen on Instagram or encountered just with the relationships I've made, and now hearing it from a male's perspective, the thing that makes me so sad is that it doesn't have to be that way. Mm-hmm. We have placed as a society such an importance on how we look, and we are so much more than our bodies. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so to me, working out is like, yes, it's about how you look. Of course, I would be lying if I said it wasn't, but for me, it is not the first reason. It is like, give me more energy to be with my kids. Yeah. Give me a better, clearer mental state to start my day with my kids. Like, it gives me confidence. It's better metabolically for me to work out versus not. There's just so many, the reasons are literally endless. Yeah. And I feel like if somebody grew up knowing that they could manage their mental health by getting up and going for a walk or getting up and going to do a workout, what a different world we live in. Because I, as a fitness trainer, and I know the longer I'm in this industry, the more I realize that maybe I'm an anomaly in the sense that I never had an eating disorder. I never dealt with body dysphoria. I never dealt with anything like that. And I know that so many people in fitness do. And I think that that's why, and that's where this industry can get so twisted. Fit doesn't equal healthy. Mm-hmm. My goal is to be my literally, like, I'm in pursuit of optimal health, and that is it. And that is my laser focus. And the element of that is fitness, of course, because fitness does lead to a better metabolic health. But it's just so sad to me.
Like, getting down to like 4% body fat, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not healthy.
No, it's the
like
worst
3-4%. Like, when people are on stage and they're super low body fat, and like, you were exhausted, you didn't come to the office.
Bro, I crashed my car almost. I hit I got rims. I got new rims on my truck, and the next day I like literally couldn't hold the steering wheel, and I fucking go off to the edge a bit.
Like 2 grams of carbs.
And like, working out and food is meant to make you feel stronger, clearer, more focused. Like, I always talk with the club I work with that I train for is mostly women. I would say 99% is women. Yeah. And I always say at the end of every class, fuel your body, get your protein, like, fuel your body, because if you're going to adopt a workout program, if you're not sleeping right and you're not eating right, good luck. You're going to burn out. You're going to burn out because you need to fuel. Like, people think of food as like, oh, should I eat that? Should I eat that? Should I not eat that? And restrict start. Like, no. Yeah. No. If you're eating properly, you're not craving sugar. I'll tell you that. If you're eating the way, like, to fuel your body and to fuel your energy.
We don't ever have sugar.
We barely have sugar. I like in my coffee a little bit.
I don't even do that anymore.
You do black coffee quite a bit.
Just nothing in it. Like, that's so true.
My guilty pleasure is carbs. So not sweets, but
carbs are essential. Your liver needs carbs.
I'm talking pizza and nachos. Like, don't get everything. Like, obviously, I'm not fucking obese, right? Yeah. And I do have a restricted diet for the most part, but my weekends consist of a little bit more relaxed, eating what I want. Right?
I don't restrict anything that I eat.
Awesome.
What happens when you go to a place and like there's only processed food and shit food there? Do you just not eat, or
it depends. Where are you talking?
Depends.
Though?
Like what, the airport?
An event.
There's a lot of like.
No, let's say like an event.
I'll have a slice of pizza.
Oh, a family event.
Yeah. I'll have a slice of pizza.
Doesn't hurt you? Doesn't hurt your stomach or anything?
I mean, I don't eat that stuff very often. It's very rare that I have to like rely on something like that. Yeah. But
because you just eat before, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Or I mean. Yeah, I mean, a lot of my day is, what am I eating? Yeah. And it's because I make
do you meal prep, or do you just
I do daily? From time to time. I don't do it full time.
It's hard. I would assume it's hard to cook daily, but it seems like you do it, which is awesome. Good for you.
But I do try and prep. Like, I've been through the season, like I said earlier, when I first started my fitness journey, where it was like, okay, I'm cooking on Sundays, and it's a full prep day where I'm cooking my brown rice and my oatmeal, and I'm doing the chicken breast. I'm doing the whole thing. They're hard boiling the eggs. I've been through that. Yeah. I don't have the time to do that. I want to spend my Sundays with my family. So what I do and what I do coach girls I work with is like, it's a really helpful to future you to at least be mindful of what am I going to eat this week?
Yeah.
Like, put it down on a piece of paper. Okay, this night I'm going to have tacos for dinner. This night I'm going to have, like, whatever it's going to be, stir fry, whatever. Plan it out, whether it's in your head, on your phone, on a notepad, because then you can grocery shop efficiently. And then you know you're coming home from work, you're tired, already know what you need to make.
Yeah.
And same thing, it's like taking it a step further. Is it like, okay, if you don't have to meal prep your whole day, but what if you were just to prep one item in your meal? So like, for example, on Sundays I'll usually boil hard-boiled eggs for the kids or for myself, just so that it's there in the morning.
In the fridge, basically.
Yeah, and then I've got them in the morning, and I can just I know that I'm gonna have eggs. And like this morning, I didn't have any left, so I was like, okay, I'll just scramble a couple eggs. Took me 3 minutes, no problem.
Perfect.
But then on Sunday, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a really busy work week, so I want to make sure I'm not getting to the point where my blood sugar crashes and I'm hangry, and then I'll eat. What am I gonna eat? Like, I want to make sure.
Disgusting pig, right?
Yeah.
I go, dude, if that happens to me accidentally, I go in the cupboard and I'm a fucking monster. I'll fucking eat everything.
And then you get like that sugar rush. You're like, oh my God, why did I do that?
Oh my God, it's the worst though. And I used to eat like that because I'm like, I'm just too busy. And then all of a sudden, if you're not thinking about, wait, how long has it been since I ate? Like, I've been really trying to focus lately on eating for my cycle and stabilizing my blood sugar, because I get way better periods when I do that.
Dude, okay, so my wife, she goes through moments where she doesn't eat properly. A lot of times she's just busy and things like that. Like, she eats well, like, and she doesn't really restrict. She's got a pretty good diet. We eat the same, pretty much, chicken and rice, and like we'll have the fun with the stir fries and things like that. But yeah, now that you mention it, like, sorry, I'm gonna put her cycles out there, but yeah, it's sometimes it can be irregular.
What's a better cycle? Like, it's just less painful?
Yeah, I mean, it basically. So women have a 28 day plus or minus cycle, right? And so usually everybody knows about PMS. So that's just one thing, but there can be lots of things. It can be acne, constipation, bloating, mood swings, irritability. A lot of women have very painful cycles. So like when they get their period, they got lots of cramping, sore breasts. Like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
I can, like, the last few months with this like really narrow focus, I mean, it might sound like life-changing to a lot of people. We're like, oh my God, it sounds like really intense. You have to like worry about what you eat. But to me, it's worth it, because like I don't like to have anything slow me down.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to be able to have my cycle and still have energy and still like not feel like I'm being taken down by being a woman.
Yeah, I feel like some girls take those days, like those 4 or 5 days, and literally do nothing
and victimize themselves.
Well,
I don't know if it's like, it's a pretty fucking shit thing to go through, but they don't do, like, you're saying you push through it and you do what you need to do to make sure that doesn't affect you. And I think that a lot of people don't take that step in their life, and that's where they get a little.
I'm sure a lot of women don't realize how much it affects them.
Totally. And I think a lot of women don't have the education. There's just, we weren't taught that. I wasn't taught that in sex ed. Were you? Like, no. We weren't taught that. My mom didn't teach me that. Like, for me, it's been like this quest, because I had so many hormonal issues through my 20s. Like, I had a cancer scare in my 20s in that region. And like, there's just a whole thing. Like, so for me now, when it comes to why a lot of women just like slow down when they get their period, actually, so some women slow down because they're in pain, which isn't normal. And there are things you can do to avoid having cramps. That's usually a hormonal imbalance between estrogen and progesterone. But when you go through your cycle, and if you actually were to live in harmony with your cycle and live in harmony with your rhythm, you are supposed to rest on day 1 and 2 of your cycle. You're like literally, sorry guys, but you're literally shedding a body part. Yeah. Like your body is doing a lot of work, and you are meant to rest. And I never used to be that woman. I'd be like, no, whatever, I can work, and I can do it. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do it.
Yeah. So this ties really well into the fact that like how people are like pushing equality in weird ways. Okay. And they're pushing and saying that there's no difference between men and women.
Well, I think that would be arguing biology, and I don't agree.
Okay, cool. That's pretty much right.
Yeah, my husband and I are very
different.
I honor his masculine energy, and he honors my feminine energy, and
as you should.
I think that was one of the biggest issues in my first marriage, was we had such an imbalance. Because for me, I'm very type A, very high energy, and I'm very like, I want, I see it, I want it, I do it.
Go, yeah.
And so it's very natural and easy for me to like go into my masculine, no problem. And I can be there. And I think in my first marriage, I was in that space a lot. And
that's what fucked it up, do you think?
I do. I think that
so
there was
you guys were both like alpha males type of thing.
No, because he wasn't though.
Sure, got you. So she was an alpha, and you wanted a a bigger alpha, essentially.
I
She
don't
wants
think
to
I
let
don't
her
think women
masculine
are
down.
meant to be
No.
in that space
We
for an
talk about this
extended
all the
period
time.
of
We
time.
appreciate the fact that you're talking about this, and we wholeheartedly agree with you.
And
Yeah, we're not meant to be in that space 100% of the
We're,
time. I think
we're meant to be respected equally,
100%.
100,000%. But we are
100%.
not the same people.
No. And men have strengths that women biologically do not
Don't
have,
and
and
vice
women
versa.
have strengths that
Vice
men
versa,
biologically
exactly.
don't have. So I think that we've gotten into this weird space
Yeah.
where we've taken equality to like a whole weird in a
Yeah.
weird way, and I'm like, no, like I don't believe in like this radical feminist movement. Like I like men, and I like my men manly, because
apparently-
I want to feel like a woman, and I want to be taken care of in that protective way, and I want to rest in my feminine energy and not feel like I'm in fight or flight all the time.
Apparently, there's a comic that came out, and the Joker was a transgendered pregnant man. It's like,
Oh.
yeah, it's a little cartoon, right? So when it's like,
Well,
Oh.
that's some
Yeah.
propaganda.
like that's definitely propaganda. So that's crazy.
That's that,
You've got an abundance of knowledge and information on, natural foods, things to eat for women. Do you take on men as well as clients, right?
I don't want to work with men.
Fair enough. You know what's crazy? Here's a
you
double
just got
standard.
turned down, bro.
No, here's a double.
trying to apply
This is
and she
crazy.
just
It's like,
turned you down.
I appreciate that, and like I have no issues with that. But fuck, if a man said that, so I'm gonna generalize this.
It's
and
not
I'm
my
gonna
strength. It
I'm
wouldn't
gonna
be my
exclude
strength. I'm just being
myself out of this
honest.
because I don't feel this way. I don't think that what you said is wrong. But if a man said that, I feel like they'd get fucking chewed up for it.
If you come and do one of my classes, you won't want to work with me either.
No, that's not what I mean. I wasn't asking for that. I was actually
I'm
just
just
plugging
kidding.
you. But
My husband does my classes,
most
and he
of-
doesn't like me on those days.
and he's a rugby player. Fuck,
Yeah.
that's crazy. With the deviated septum that you got to look into. But
Yeah.
if women want to reach out to you,
Oh, yeah.
what's the website, and is everything online, or are you still teaching in class as well?
So I'm not teaching in class anymore. I've actually left my career in natural foods, and I do my business full time now, which is such a crazy shift in the last couple of years. But you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Namaste with Tay.
We'll throw it out.
We'll throw it up as well.
And I have a website, namastewithtay.com, and it has all the Namaste Sweaty Club information there. That's the online fitness club that I run. And I do one-on-one coaching through there as well. But yeah, mostly I just, do run. Basically, it's like, it's an online fitness club. I teach 5 classes a week, 7 a.m. every morning, and it's a structured program that
Is
I've
it like on a
designed.
Zoom thing, or like a
Yeah,
a
it's
conference?
online, so it's
Yeah.
live. It's like
Okay.
it's
live.
live.
Like, it's live. That's what I meant, right? It's
Yeah,
not
it's
like
live.
an app that you
Yep.
just plug in your information and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, do these workouts.
It's live, and
more
I have
live.
it's live or on demand. We have like a humongous library now of
Yeah, you
classes.
should, right? That makes more sense, business standpoint.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much still to talk about. Are we close to the hour?
I think we're close to the hour.
Are we gonna have to do it part 2?
We can. I mean, we
I
would
would
love to
love
have you.
to.
We would love to have you back for part 2.
I would
we
love
can
that.
Definitely do
We
that.
haven't
love
hit on
chatting with
so
you guys.
many. Yeah, you're a very interesting person. Can have
Aw.
great conversations.
Yeah.
And you've done something amazing, and you continue to do something amazing. So
Thank
we
you.
we love having people on that have that energy, and we appreciate you coming today.
I feel
Is
like I
there-
just made
we-
two new friends. which
Yeah,
is great.
definitely.
We didn't even know each other. Like I
I
didn't talk to you.
know.
It was him
But-
messaging on the account, and I had no clue. And I quickly read through today, and it's hard because like you don't even know who you're talking to at sometimes.
No, and the only reason why, because my husband's like, "Where are you going? And who are you going?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's these 2 guys." He's like, "What?" And I'm like, "No." But thank your wife, because your wife was the one who was like, "Hey," she reached out to me. And I
That's
was
why
like,
we
"Oh,
don't want to
okay."
be creepy in any way,
Yeah, yeah.
and like that. So
No,
like
that worked out good.
we use like his wife.
So
kind
it's
of-
leverage. We leverage everyone, obviously,
Yeah.
right? As you should for business, right? So any contact. So she was the soft opening.
Oh, well, that was really cool. I
And,
was like, "Oh, sure."
Yeah, and we
I'd love to
we
come
love talking
chat.
to people like you because there's so many people that are watching because you got a great Instagram page.
Thank you.
Got a large following. People don't get to see the real Namaste, right?
Like,
see
they probably
the-
never heard these stories before, like some of these stories that you've shared.
No, we've kind of gone down so many different avenues.
I
feel
know,
like,
I know.
But
There's not a
Like
space to do that.
there isn't, and like
The Instagram, you're not gonna start talking about your problems and being like, "Yo,
you
by
got
the way,
60
I'm going
seconds
through
on you got
depression."
60 seconds on your IG story.
Yeah.
You've got 3 minutes, I think, on your reel, or 2 minutes. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
TikTok, you have like 11 seconds.
I know. So you're
It's like-
so you don't get a chance to dive in.
Yeah,
dive
totally.
Deep
No, I
into
love
this.
it.
So this is why we started this movement. What would you say to your younger self? If there's anything. Don't take birth control.
I'm
probably.
just don't take birth control 100% or antidepressants. You're gonna be okay.
Awesome.
You're gonna be okay.
Do you-
You're gonna love your life. You are gonna love your life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We love hearing that.
We're gonna on the part 2. We're gonna go down that rabbit hole
Cool.
because you said that for a very intent reason, right? So
Yeah.
For right before we go, is there any questions that you have for us?
No, I mean, why did you guys start this podcast?
spontaneously and randomly, we started talking. Me and him, so we share an office. We can talk for hours and hours and hours. And oddly enough, when we're in the office, we don't talk that much to each other because we're focused on work. So it works well. We take these moments and we talk.
And we never got to hang out like this. Like it was getting to the point where we were so busy with work. We're like, I think it's a cool thing that we incorporated a side of work, but where we can all just hang out too.
Totally.
So it's beautiful in that sense. But
we love deep conversations. We have
and people
deep
don't talk about the shit.
People
like
don't talk about
this,
the
right?
trauma, the mental health. We've all had it growing up. We started doing a little bit of the podcast stuff for content, just to push the real estate side, and just randomly there was a girl in the office that she's the daughter of another realtor, and she just came back from Nicaragua, talked about day trading, and JP's like, yo, do you want to do a podcast?
I stopped her mid conversation. I'm like, stop talking to me. This sounds like a podcast. I'm like, she's like, do you have a podcast? I'm like, no, but I'll make one.
Yeah.
Made it within a week. We
Within a
made it,
week.
got the crew
Within a
together,
week,
I
and
love
then
that.
and then we recorded it, and it was a shit production video.
No. The
It was
conversation was great,
Yeah.
but the production in comparison to
We
today,
did it on an iPhone, right?
I think we did one iPhone, maybe one camera.
But that's what's so cool, right? It's like you
Yeah.
had an idea, you just went with it. You didn't care about what people were going to think of it. That's the whole thing, right? We live in this beautiful era. Like, there's so many downsides for our generation, I feel like. But this one beautiful part is that, like, we have all of these tools at our fingertips. You can create anything you want, literally.
Progress over perfection. So
Totally.
just imperfect. What's the word? This is why I have them around.
Imperfect perfection.
Perfect. No, I knew that part, but like you could just kind of keep moving forward.
You
Yeah.
can't perfect it.
You can't
Yeah, I mean,
perfect
when I
it.
started my
So
business, I had no idea
You
that
just
I'd be like not
had
going
this
back
idea.
to my career.
say yes and figure it out you later. Is
Yeah.
what we're always told. Is
Yeah.
what we're always taught, right?
Yeah.
So
You can always say no, right?
Yeah.
Can't always say yes. So.
that's right. Yeah.
Don't live in regrets.
Yeah. Perfect.
YOLO.
Cool. Well, thank
You
you
only
so
live
much
once.
for having
Did
me.
you just call it like 10 different things?
YOLO.
Yeah, no. Okay,
Live,
done.
love, laugh. All right. Thanks, guys.